Welcome into the webinar, everyone. We'll give it a few more minutes here before we begin our conversation for you all to join. And we are so glad to have you here. Okay, let's get started. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this Giving Tuesday. My name is Molly McDuff, and I'm the marketing coordinator for Harvard Business School Online, HBS Online. Each year, HBS Online hosts the Community Challenge, in which we collaborate with a nonprofit and ask our learners worldwide to help develop solutions to a critical business problem facing the organization we work with. This year marked the 6th annual Community Challenge and the second pitch competition at our annual learner conference, Connect. We were thrilled to have partnered this year with Oxfam's Global Innovation Lab for Equality, also known as aGILE. The aGILE team tasked our learners with developing innovative solutions to help expand their reach and community connections. A record-breaking 17 chapters from our community participated, and the Toronto Chapter won. So we're very excited today to welcome members from the winning team, Mark Liu and Kaiser Mahmoud, and Dr. Latte Lawson-Lartego, aGILE's Chief Innovation Officer. Thank you all so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
So we have questions prepared, and we'll also be taking some questions from the audience this afternoon. If you're watching on Zoom, you can use the Q&A function to submit your questions towards us, and we'll get to those towards the end of the webinar. And if you're joining us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, please feel free to leave a comment there. So let's get things started. Latte, I would love if you could begin by describing the work that aGILE does.
Thank you, Molly. First of all, happy Giving Tuesday to everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to particularly thank the HBSO team as well as all the 17 chapters who took the time to submit their ideas to the community challenge. I heard this was a record-breaking participation, and we are grateful for your generosity in giving back and contributing to achieving transformative impacts around the globe. So, aGILE. aGILE stands for an acronym, actually. It's a Global Innovation Lab for Equality. It is an Oxfam collaborative innovation lab and platform dedicated to co-creating human-centered solutions to systemic inequality problem. At Oxfam, our mission is really to fight inequality, to reduce poverty and injustice globally. So aGILE is really created to help us to continue to innovate so we can stay relevant and impactful. So we embrace innovation and partnerships to solve those systemic problems at local and global levels because we work in around 85 countries globally. And we focus on 5 intersectional thematic areas. So obviously climate change, is a big one, gender equality, economic justice, accountable governance, and humanitarian responses. Those are the 5 broad thematic areas. And what we do in aGILE is we provide support to our constituents, mostly Oxfam staff globally, but also our partner organization. So the 4 key areas are capabilities and mindset strengthening. Obviously, when it comes to innovation, we need people to change their mindset, to think outside of the box, to embrace innovation culture. So we look into that as one key area. The second one is innovation strategies development and execution advisory. Because more and more, as we are quite decentralized as Oxfam, so we work with our affiliates in the Global South, like for instance, Oxfam South Africa or Oxfam Brazil, etc. So work with them to support them to develop their own innovation strategy and how they can execute that. The third area is piloting initiative with our country affiliates. So pilot new ideas to really solve those inequality issues or incubate existing innovation to help them to scale. And the last area of support is innovation ecosystem development and partnership, fundraising, things like that. So yeah, that's what we do. And I work with a fantastic team of colleagues that I love to recognize quickly. I know some of them are here. So I want to give a big shout out to Vanessa, Mandisa, Semantica, Daniel, Alivel, many more. Actually, we work globally around the globe. So many other colleagues who may be here. So big shout out, and I can't do this work by myself. So I'm very fortunate to be part of that team. Thank you.
Of course, that's terrific. Thank you so much for that summary of aGILE and the work that it does, and for the little team shout out. I think we would all love to know, for you personally, what inspired you to join aGILE.
Actually, this is a long story, but given the time, I keep it short. I came to innovation early in my career in the nonprofit sector, just by accident, to be frank. I was working at that time in West Africa, more specifically in Benin, in the microfinance sector. It was an emerging sector at that time. And the sector was facing a systemic over-indebtedness problem, where many customers will take multiple loans. Sometimes they would take one loan to pay off another one. And the sector was about to break because just the level of on payments is quite high. So we were thinking, how can we solve these issues, right? And we came up with this, can we make a credit bureau for the microfinance sector? It was the first one. Nobody thought about that before. So yeah, that's how I came into innovation, trying to use the innovation method. To be frank, it was really by accident, as I said, like just, brainstorming with people, key stakeholders, those microfinance institutions themselves, say, how can we co-create a solution here? And I was fortunate. I came to the US at that time to earn what, with the World Bank, they call it Innovation Market Prize. So I came and I won that prize, more than 20 years ago. And that just really impacts my mindset, right? And my commitment to really embrace innovation throughout my career. So since then, I've led a number of innovation initiatives to fight poverty and inequality globally in West Africa, globally around the globe. So yeah, I think that's my motivation. And in 2022, within Oxfam, we saw the opportunity to also look at how we can create this global innovation lab. So we pitched the idea to our senior leadership, and I would say we were really lucky to get the blessing, to go ahead and try. So yeah, that's how I came to this job. And I would say we have been, it's been 2 years, and we have a lot of good momentum, and I'm proud to be here today working with the Toronto team. So yeah, that's my short story about how I came into innovation and into this role.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you so much for sharing, and we are so honored to have you here with us as well. And thank you for the shout out to the rest of your team as well. So moving into the challenge, what would you say motivated aGILE to participate in the community challenge this year?
Yeah, so as I said, we are a small team, right? We are a startup within a big organization. Oxfam is 80 plus year old. We started in the UK during the Second World War. But we are a small team of 4 or 5. So we saw the community challenge as a great opportunity to put some of our strategic question to HBSO, right? And we wanted to really tap the global network of HBSO and the diverse professional people and learners that you have. And with number of expertise area, right? So also we wanted to benefit from the power of the best minds globally that you have. So I think that was one of our motivation as well. And basically, we also want to really learn from them, right? And also see how we can gain various outside perspectives into what, some of the challenges that we are facing. and for some of those strategic collaboration with the team. So I think obviously Harvard University is also a brand, so we couldn't just pass that opportunity. So those were a few things that we were looking for, and I would say we are not disappointed, to be frank.
Well, that is great news to hear, and I won't spoil anything for the rest of the webinar, but thank you so much for sharing that. Let's move to our minds from the community here, Kaiser and Mark. Let's begin with you, Mark. Why did the Toronto chapter, why did you join the Toronto chapter in the HBS Online community in the first place?
Well, for me, I really just wanted to stay connected with the HBS Online community after finishing my courses, and also meet like-minded people. And that's how I met Kaiser. It was a great experience.
That's terrific. That is the goal of our community, and we're so glad to hear that it's been a positive experience for you so far. And Kaiser, on your end, what motivated you to take part in the community challenge with the Toronto chapter this year?
So that's actually a story, but before I jump into the story, I do want to give a great shout out to the absolutely amazing Toronto team who worked tirelessly with Mark and I. So it was Paris, Hannah, Abbas, Linda, and our great community chapter lead, Bud. Thank you so much, everyone, for putting all the time and effort in making this happen. So the story goes, I was attending the Connects 2023, and I think I was sitting beside Mark. I didn't know him at the time. And there was this presentation that was going on. 3 different countries were presenting these ideas of how they can tackle a real world problem. And I was thinking to myself that is an absolutely amazing way to actually get engaged within the community. And then we started talking to Mark, and we both were interested in doing this. And Mark is kind of a network guru, you can say. So when we went for the after party, he started gathering all the folks from Toronto together, and we kind of exchanged our contacts and all this kind of details, came back to Toronto, got in touch, and we talked about being able to participate and contribute more. And that's how we formed this group between Mark and I, and then Paris, Hannah, Abbas, Linda joined afterwards, and we reached out to Bud, who facilitated the whole process. That's how we kind of got together, and we just wanted to take part and be part of this global community, and at the same time be able to kind of give something back to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is the goal of the challenge, and we're very happy to have you both here to share more about your proposal and your presentation. So Latte, when we were beginning this process early at the beginning of 2024 here, what were you hoping for in the solutions proposed by our learners?
Yeah, we were looking for a few things such as fit for purpose, right? Obviously, again, as I said, we are a small team. We are starting a 2-year-old now. So we wanted to have a solution that will help us to scale, grow, scale, and hopefully sustain the lab. So that was a key thing for us. The second one is actionability, right? Is the solution, will help us to get the idea off the ground quickly, right? Because I think we got 17, all of them are fascinating, but that's something we're looking at. And linked to that is also detail and specificity. Is there enough detail to fully understand and implement the idea, right? So that's another one. And also evidence-based, right? Is there kind of some reasoning and evidence embedded in the solution or in the idea that was proposed? And last but not least, I would say cost effectiveness. We are bootstrap and small lab, so we wanted to also look at solutions that we could implement quickly at a very affordable level. So yeah, I think those were a few things that we were looking for.
Awesome. And so with those points in mind, what kind of response and ideas did you receive from the HBS Online community?
So we love all the ideas we received. It was, 17 good ideas from around the globe, I would say. So we were quite happy with what we got. And I would say most of them were about creating a digital platform, right? That could enable us to connect innovators globally, locally and globally, but also somewhere in terms of partnerships with corporates, for like corporate social responsibilities and other like-minded actors. Some were also on more narrative building, right? How can we like have a hashtag, right? And some were about how we can really scale the activities of the lab. So I would say, again, all those were good. And I think, the last three that went to the final stage were awesome. And I wish we could work with everyone, but we had to pick one. But what we are doing at this stage was, do work with the Toronto team, but then as we go, how do we hopefully we can borrow some of those ideas from the other chapters as well that we can really, take into action here. So yeah, so those were some of the few things that we saw in the submissions. Do you want me to be a bit more specific for the Toronto one, or just want to?
We can get into the specifics of the Toronto proposal in a couple of minutes here, and we'll let Kaiser and Mark share a lot of the key components of their proposal. But before we get into that, speaking to the ideas from the various proposals that you mentioned, how did these reflect aGILE's mission mission and vision as you were going through these proposals?
Yeah, they were very much aligned with our vision, especially obviously the last three and the Toronto one that we picked, right? So because again, we wanted to be a global lab, innovation lab, and an open platform, right, accessible to everyone within Oxfam, but also outside of Oxfam. Because obviously we work to fight inequality, to reduce poverty, and injustice globally. And we know that as Oxfam, as just one organization, we can't do that all by ourselves. So we wanted to create this kind of lab to really be of service to people around the globe who really want to innovate, who want to find innovative solutions, right, to solve systemic inequality and injustice here in the US, but mostly globally. So the Agile to Agility platform, what proposed by the Toronto team, was just a good fit for purpose for us, right? And we are now testing many components to ensure that we can iterate based on our learning and make it robust, scalable, and resilient. Because again, having just a platform, we know we are the economy, digital economy, and having this kind of platform that is well structured, well grounded, can really help us to reach more people, make it interesting, make it attractive, and help us to grow. So we are happy with what we receive, and we are diligently working on that. So hopefully we'll get into what we are doing shortly.
Absolutely. Let's get into it. Beginning with Kaiser here. Could you tell us more about some of the ideas in your proposal and how you all navigated the Agile to Agility?
Absolutely. So as you heard Dr. Latte talk about it, the challenge was to bring out a growth strategy for Agile, to put them onto the right trajectory, to become an innovative problem solver, but in a systemic way, by using the power of community, or by empowering community rather than Agile being at the center of every single problem that is being solved. As Dr. Latte referred a few times, that depending on the resource and all these kind of things and how they have started, all the different things they have access to. So I think community was in the forefront of our mind, that this is probably what the solution needs to be. And given the resource and all these different things, and if you want to bring different communities together, I think Mark was the one who early on noticed that there are different communities that exist within Oxfam, or even within Agile perhaps, who are in different countries solving problems. So we were trying to figure out, how do we bring bring them together and kind of empower them to be able to go ahead and solve this problem. So the strategy we propose stands on three legs. It's the three E's that we talk about, which is educate, enable, and engage. So what we propose is the way to go about is build a community behind this education sort of a platform where Agile can go and showcase some of the ways they solve the problem of today. And they can also offer some credentials so that people can come in and learn those ways. And as they do, they earn different badges, which they can now display and showcase. So once that is done, we thought that that is not enough. You also need to enable people to be able to go ahead and solve problems. When we listen to some of the interviews from some of the places where Agile went and solved problems, we heard that after Agile left, the team there went to their leaders and asked them if they can use Agile's template and some of those kind of tools. So we thought the second section needs to be enable, where Agile can publish some of their tools and templates. So now people, what they learn, they take those and they go and solve smaller problems within their community. And once that is successfully done, the engage section comes in. So in the engage section, when you have created this Agile innovators, they can now come in and start building different teams, and they can see the badges to understand who has what kind of knowledge and expertise that they can bring together. And this is where Agile can go in and kind of post some of the challenges, some of the problems they're trying to solve, and the team can come together around their problem to be able to effectively solve those problems. And at the end of the day, it also opens up Agile to a road to partnership, where they can now partner up with other NGOs or universities or anything they would like, where this little community now can be deployed to not only solve problems within Agile community, but perhaps outside as well. So that is in a nutshell the strategy that we proposed.
Terrific. Yeah, thank you so much for the summary of your proposal. And then love to hand it over to Mark here. And speaking to teamwork and how you collaborated as the Toronto chapter, how did your team collaborate on this project specifically? And, were there any challenges that you had to overcome to bring your ideas together?
Sure. So although all of us are from the Toronto chapter, we're not all physically located in Toronto. So in order to get everybody involved, we have to have a method of connecting synchronously and also asynchronously. So what we did is we had scheduled weekly virtual meetings, just making sure everybody get in touch at least once a week, being informed of the progress and be connected. And we also kind of have in-person meetings, get-togethers on, I think, on almost a monthly basis to kind of connect in person and boost team morale. And then, of course, we also leveraged an online platform called ClickUp, which we use to document all of our ideas asynchronously so everyone can review afterwards as well. Coming to challenges, I think one of the challenges we kind of encountered was, getting everybody engaged throughout the entire period of the competition. Because, everyone has their day-to-day work, and sometimes when work gets busy, life happens, and we would kind of lose track. So what we did is we kind of, in addition to these weekly virtual meetings, we try to adding a little bit of fun into our in-personal connections. So we sometimes would start off the meeting with a few drinks, maybe, and then we'll get into the brainstorming of ideas. I find that it really helped get the idea flowing after a beer or two. I don't know, Kaiser, do you have anything else you want to add here?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Yeah, I think Mark is definitely on point, and some of those kind of things really, really help to kind of bring the ideas out, and we could really connect together as a team. One of the other thing as a challenge, what I would say is, this is really great to brainstorm and bring ideas, but then also we had a lot of good ideas that you can go through. So one of the way we try to navigate is we found ourselves going back and keep reading up on Agile's mission, vision statement, and try to understand, these are good ideas, but is it a good idea for Agile? So we really had to take a deeper look at the regulatory and any document we could get our hands on and kind of develop a lens of what is fit for purpose. Then we came back to the table and ran all the different ideas through that lens to be able to figure out which idea is actually fit for purpose and could actually achieve what Agile is trying to achieve. So that would be another challenge that I'll add on top of what Mark has already mentioned.
Terrific. Yeah, thank you both for those responses. And those are great examples for future chapters participating in future challenges to remember as they're building their proposal as well. So thank you both for sharing. And Latte, getting to the winning proposal here. Why did the aGILE team choose the Toronto chapter as the winner? And how might you be able to implement their solution, or how might you be implementing their solution?
Yeah, I think we were really impressed by the Toronto proposal. Again, all 17 were very good. But we felt like the Toronto team took really the time to really understand where we are, the stage of our cycle, right? As a new entity within a large organization. So we really appreciate that the problem statements, the way they really state that was just clear, spoke to us. And also the specificity and action-oriented approach that they took to present the ideas. And the whole conceptualization, right? Like from agile to agility, and the way they structure the proposal as well, right? We love the educates, phase one, enables, phase two, engage. But obviously, as you do that, you have to close the loop on each of those. So, and the presentation was very accessible as well, right? Well thought out, and also we saw a lot of innovative thinking, right? And again, cost effectiveness is key for us. So those were a few features, and also it's just simple. It's easy to understand, and they did a good pitch, doing the connect as well. So yeah, I think those were a few things that we love about the Toronto proposal. And then how might we implement the solution? We are already working together. We've been working together with the team since summer, actually, right? I think since June, July. So we have, we meet every other week, first testing the platform, right? That's they suggested we went forth and back to look at which digital platform we want to choose. We vetted them with our technology team within Oxfam. We look at, shall we start something from scratch, or shall we just go by? So we look at a lot of different options, and we now landed on one that we are testing right now. And also working, so the way we structure the work with them is also in 3 kind of work streams. So one is really on the platform. The second one is on the content, right? What do we put on the platform? How do we establish community, and then the whole governance? So we have been working together for the past 5-6 months, and we are launching the platform this month, actually, with a 90 days sprint cycle. So we are also taking a sprint approach, because obviously having bright ideas is one thing, but testing those ideas, making sure that they are grounded, they can work, right? And then iterating that's what we teach people. So that's what we are trying to do here as well. So we have been working closely together, and we just love the engagement. I think they are Kaiser, Mark, and Odako, Linda, Paris, and Abbas. They are like our extended team at aGILE for now. So we just love working together with them.
That's wonderful to hear, and that is truly the goal that we have here from these community challenges, is for you all to be able to continue that collaboration and connectivity after the challenge and pitch competition. So it's wonderful to hear. I'm so excited about the platform launch. Let's get into some of the takeaways from this experience from the Toronto team. So Kaiser, what specific takeaways do you have, either from the proposal process to presenting at Connect? I'd love to hear your opinion on your experience here.
Thanks. So before I jump into that, I just want to acknowledge that Latte is an absolutely amazing person to be able to bring the various different teams together and kind of inspire them to go toward a goal. So thank you so much, Dr. Latte, for that. And I also want to acknowledge the shout out he gave to the Toronto team. The deck was like hours of work that Paris, who's not here right now, and she put together. And then all the innovative ideas were coming from Abbas. He would come in, talk about Facebook, AIs, and all this kind of things, and we'll figure out which one could fit, which one could not. And then whenever we go off the rail, Linda comes in with her compliance and regulatory views, sort of, and kind of bring things together. So just wanted to give those shout out to everyone. So the takeaways for me, I think. This was the first time we participated, so we really had no idea. We had no expectation on what and how it works and what even to expect. So overall, we talked a lot about the process, the strategy, and all this kind of things. But I think my takeaway was that we had a lot of fun. We came together as a team. I loved how HBS does it, or how HBS kind of outlines in a very simple form. Here's the 5 things you guys should look at. So that helps us to set up the North Star. So anything we're doing, even though there's a lot of assumptions we had to make, there is something we can go back to. Anytime we reached out to anyone from HBS, so we got a lot of help and support. So I think some of the takeaways for me would be, go in, try to have fun, winning or not winning. At the end of the day, it's an absolutely amazing experience. And just to be there and kind of try to give something back. So I think that would be the takeaway from me. I'm pretty sure Mark may have more to add or contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I think we never go in the intent of winning the competition as our #1 goal. Although it's great that our proposal happened to be chosen. But having fun and really build those strong connections as we work on the challenge together, I think that makes it a very different than just a meet and greet at a networking event. So certainly that for me, that's a huge takeaway. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We love to hear about the collaboration that's happened on the Toronto chapter through this process, and once again, we appreciate you both for being here and sharing your experience. So speaking to future community challenge participants, Mark, what advice would you give to these participants about tackling real-world nonprofit issues?
Yeah, and I think as Kaiser mentioned, when the challenge was initially presented to us, HBS Online provides that North Star that and with no boundaries, and we really have to really think about what the challenge is. That's I think what we spend a lot of time on. So I think one of the more important thing I would kind of advise future participant is that we really need to take a step back and put ourselves in the shoe of a nonprofit organization, because they're quite different from the businesses and companies that we encounter day to day. In most cases, their resources are limited, both financial and non-financial resources, talent, technology, etc. Having a strong understanding about their mission is super important, and that's kind of where we started. Is we did a lot of learning about what aGILE is, what they do, and we really kind of put our shoes and ask ourselves, if we were aGILE, what are given our mission, what are some of the obstacles that we're encountering today after being 2 years, and then how do we go from here? That's kind of the approach we took. I don't know, Kaiser, anything else you wanted to kind of add here?
I think, Mark, you nailed it with that statement of kind of putting ourselves into the NGO shoe, and then there is a very significant difference between how an NGO operates versus how for-profit could operate. So I think that was definitely key. The one other thing I would add is, because it's a very open-ended challenge, there's I think 3 different sections. You can do strategy, you can do marketing, you can do networking, a lot of those kind of things. Sometimes it might also help to focus on one, because we don't have a lot of time. It was very short amount of time. We have 10 minutes to kind of present ideas. So coming in with a lot of different things sometimes may not give us the result that we wanted. Because I remember for us, we actually did a whole marketing strategy and a bunch of other things. And at the end of the day, we discarded all of that because we really, really wanted to focus on the strategy, because we thought we understood where Agile is trying to go. And we thought we can, if we spend our time, we can really be able to articulate and communicate how that strategy could actually work to get them to that stage. So sometimes focusing on at least one of the area and doing it really, really well could really make an impact.
Absolutely. That's terrific advice for future participants, and thank you both for sharing. And now let's get into what is to come for Agile here. So Latte, what's in store for the future of Agile?
Yeah, before I respond to that question, I wanted to just again big kudos to the Toronto team, because what you just said, Kaiser, the focus, because even for me, right, as I was reflecting on the challenge and just I went back looking at, it's like we were quite ambitious. Like we wanted to do everything with this challenge. So just picking maybe one area that you can really zoom in and come up with the best idea. I think that's what we saw anyway in your submission. So, and we were really excited. So that's a very good point. So what in store? We have a lot. We are just again 2 years. Now we are closing our fiscal year. That will be March 2025. So we are trying to really push this platform, right? As I say, we want to go live this month and do the 90 days sprint cycle. So we hope by sometime in end of February, early March, we'll learn a bunch. So we can really iterate the platform, make it more robust. And one thing, just quoting the Toronto team, is how do we make this platform resilient, right, and scalable? So that's something we are really looking into doing. But we also have some other work that we want to take to scale. We experimented like this year with our Africa team, what we call Africa Innovation Challenge. And again, a lot of good learning. So how do we continue to take that, even taking that to other continents, but also continue to really, as you say, we are nonprofits and resource mobilization fundraising is key. So we can, as we grow, we can continue to also grow the team. So that's really key. And maybe last but not least, continue to refresh our strategy and our partnerships. Like right now we are looking at other partners that we can bring in to help us to continue to grow this platform, so we can be of service to Oxfam staff globally, but also with our partners. Those are a few things that we have in store coming up.
That sounds terrific. We're looking forward to seeing the progress. And speaking to that, finally, how can people learn more about Agile?
Yeah, you can. We have a landing page on Oxfam website, so you can go there. But obviously, if you shoot me an email, I will be happy to engage as well and connect you with my team. It's easy agile at oxfam.org. Easy. So you can do that. But also today is Giving Tuesday, so we are celebrating Giving Tuesday at Oxfam right now. So you can learn more about how you can get involved through the links that I'm sure is shared on in the chat. Yeah, there are different ways, and obviously any kind of partnership you can suggest, any idea, anything that you can suggest for us to continue to look into and to grow this platform. Would love to get that. And again, I want to thank the Toronto team and everyone who is here today. I'm sure there are a lot of questions, so looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Just going to reiterate the thank you. I love to hear from you all, and I greatly appreciate your responses and your dedication here. So we have a couple pre-prepared questions that have been submitted to us through the webinar registration page that I'd like to get to here with our last couple of minutes. So this first question here is for you, Latte, from our participant named Juan. Juan asks, how did you measure the challenge success, and what evidence do you have of its impact on the community and Agile's marketing? Oh, you gotta unmute there real quick. Sorry.
All right, can you hear me now?
All good.
Okay. Yeah, so for how do we measure the success? Again, as I said, we are taking this 90 days cycle approach, right? So we have what we call experimentation cards that we work on as a team with the Harvard, Toronto team to look at what are the assumptions. So we have clear assumptions that we want to test over the next 3 months. And also some key learning questions, like what features of the platform do users find most helpful and engaging, right? What design element of the platform we are building can they find more appealing or even unappealing, right? What do they perceive as the value of the platform? Those are some of the few learning questions that we are looking into. And in terms of outcomes or what success will look like, so we are testing this with our Africa team first. So we are hoping at least a third of those people who are participating in the platform will really report that they have access to good material or resources on the platform, right? And they have, we are looking at learning as well. They are learning new concepts that will help them to continue to upskill themselves and hopefully achieve impact, right? We will also get a good understanding of the platform, right? How it works and how useful it is for the participants. We will also be able to know if the platform is the right one, right? And how we can really scale it up. So those are few things that we set to really work on together for the next 90 days to really track how this works, what we learn, and how we measure some of the success. So I hope this responds to the question.
Absolutely terrific. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that response. And then we have a question here for Kaiser and Mark from Mutushi. Mutushi asks, what are some of the challenges that you faced while trying to implement your strategic vision, and what steps did you take to overcome them? So maybe you could talk some more specifics into how you navigated building that proposal, or how you focused on, that one strategic point, as you mentioned, sort of scaling your proposal in that way.
Maybe I can jump in, and Mark, you can add if there's anything I miss. So before I jump into that question, I just want to touch base on what Dr. Latte said and the previous question about the matrix of how do you measure. So I just wanted to mention that I think there is somebody, I think Dr. Latte is Phil probably in your team. Every time we're meeting weekly and every time we talk about all these different things, the platform and everything, everybody's excited. And before we close the meeting, Phil will come in and he'll be like, okay, so how do we really measure it? How do we know it's really working? We really got to think about it. What are the KPIs that's going to be? So that actually helped us and drove us to kind of think about the success measures. So I know we talked about it a few times, then we went back. And so like there are definitely metrics and things being put together to be able to kind of give us the indication is going the right way. So just wanted to touch base on that. Some of the challenges. So I think from a strategic point of view, when we're building out the strategy, the way we navigate it on which strategy really fits is looking at the North Star, the fit for purpose, and going back and learning what aGILE is trying to do. That's one thing we have done. The second technique we had to do is that we had a lot of questions with no answer to. So we had to make a lot of assumptions that, okay, this is how we know an organization of that size may work or may perform. We have looked at some of the other organizations which may work in a similar capacity. So we had to build a lot of assumptions and then build a strategy on top of those. But that also made us to make it a bit nimble and simpler in a way so that we can pivot if some of the assumptions turn out to be either incorrect or slightly different. And that's what we experience now when we're working with Dr. Latha's team to be able to implement those. Depending on, we made some assumptions, this is the technology infrastructure that they will have, here's the support and things that we might get, here's the regulatory things they may have. So we are having to validate all of those kind of things. And as we learn, we are trying to go back to the strategy and see, we want to pivot maybe this technology solution, but at the end of the day, does it give us whatever strategically we said we wanna attain? So that's how we are kind of reshaping or kind of expanding on the strategy that we proposed at the very beginning. I don't know, Mark, if you have anything else you want to add to that.
I think you're right on. And just want to echo what Dr. Latha said earlier. Having an idea is one thing, and implementing the idea in practice is actually another. And I think when we're working on the competition, like Kaiser said, we had a lot of assumptions and we omit a lot of the details or nuances that would actually come and haunt us when we're actually implementing it. We realized that maybe the technology wasn't what we envisioned at the time, or the level of support that we would have for certain areas that we originally thought would be easily, taken care of, but that wasn't. So we really have to, like Kaiser said, we have to be nimble and really learn and implement at the same time, because we're getting new information about the realities, and then we have to act on it following that North Star that we kind of set in our proposal. So how do we overcome it? Definitely building a lot of buffer, and also when we're implementing, we have to already kind of account for that there will be obstacles and roadblocks, and there will be areas which we will have to make changes to. Just knowing those uncertainty are there really kind of help us be a bit more proactive in taking care of it, than just being kind of bumped into it and get stuck.
Absolutely. Thank you both. Those are some terrific points for our future challenge participants to consider as they're building their proposals. And that's a great mindset and in dealing with any business proposal and going through the future of your work here with aGILE. So thank you, Kaiser and Mark. We have a question here from Ramai asking, how can I participate in the challenge? So I can provide some context to that. Every one of our community chapters is required to host at least one event a year that revolves around either the challenge organization that we are partnering with or the challenge in general. So that is a great first step as a participant or member of the community. Join one of those events and hear from the chapter's community organizer or some of the chapter leadership as to how you could get involved in that specific chapter. I would also just generally request reaching out to the chapter's community organizer. Once you go onto your chapter's homepage, there's a nice handy little button that says Contact Organizer, and that's a really great way to reach out to them and see how you can get involved with your chapter and participating in the challenge. So thank you so much for that question. Last question we have here for you all today. I will also take a little bit of a spotlight here to the community. This question from Tanvir is, what are the best ways to network effectively with peers in the HBS Online community? That is a terrific question, and there is no wrong way to network in the community. Just going on there and participating with your chapter members, as Mark and Kaiser, I'm sure, can attest, is a wonderful way to build lifelong connections and to continue to be able to meet and support one another, both personally and professionally. So a couple general ways that I mentioned are, first and foremost, join a chapter. We have 35 plus chapters, either in global regions or in industry specific chapters as well, that you can network solely focused on a specific industry or topic. So I'd recommend joining a chapter, putting a post in the chapter's networking feed, and then participating in events. Events, as our Toronto chapter members here can attest, are a great way that you're going to be able to meet people and to build those lasting connections. But I don't want to solely speak for myself on this area. If there's anything, Kaiser and Mark, that you want to share about your networking experience so far on the community, I'd be happy to hand it over to you.
Thank you. I'll jump in. So something that you say, like go reach out to the community organizer. I want to give a big shout out to all of them. Anybody I've dealt with who are a community organizer, absolutely amazing. On our side, we bug Bud for anything and everything. We bug him a lot. He is an absolutely amazing person. He does reach out. He does create space for us. But I would encourage everyone, if things are not happening, if things are not moving, which can happen because everybody gets busy in their life, do go out and propose ideas and all this kind of things. All the community member organizers are absolutely amazing to kind of create that space for you. So that definitely helps quite a lot.
For me, yeah, definitely. Without Bud, I don't think we'll get this far. And then I'm sure if you ever spoke with him, he'll tell you how much we bug him. Literally, we're emailing him like midnight before the competition closes. I think for me, the best way to connect is actually really going in person to HBS, during Connects. And that's how I met Kaiser, Paris, Hannah, and most of the team members. So I really do wanted to promote that. Hopefully to connect with people on campus is something that I think really valuable, that in-person kind of touch.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Thank you both. Thank you both so much for your responses, and thank you so much to all three of you today for your participation in this webinar and for taking the time to have this conversation with me and everybody who joined us via the webinar or through our social channels. Thank you for helping us celebrate this year's community challenge. If you were inspired by today's conversation, you can join the community at hbsonlinecommunity.org. As I mentioned, the community features more than 35 chapters worldwide and is open to anyone. You do not have to have taken an HBS online course to join the community. And you can sign up for the chapter nearest you or one of our global or industry-based chapters, as I mentioned previously. Again, Latte, Mark, Kaiser, thank you all so much for joining me today. And thank you all online for tuning in. And happy Giving Tuesday, everyone.
Happy Giving
Thank you.
Tuesday. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, everyone.